what can I say? When all else fails, it's the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen,
Greetings to you.
wherever you are, for music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
the station for you is
OTR.
You're listening to, watching, and hopefully enjoying the Old Tube Radio Network, where our goal is to check in old tube radios. OTR listening.
7:45. 25.
All right, that's a good way to start off. Looking for my scratch note paper here. Mr. Ed, step up into the air chair. I don't know what this is, but it'll work for a notepad. Paul, you'll be number 2. Join Jerry, SWL25 in the green room. Jerry, you'll be radio number 3. And I promise you we will get to everybody that would like to check in tonight, because that is the job. That is my goal. That is what we do here in the Old Tube Radio Network for the past 30-something years, is make sure that the opportunity to get on the air with your classic radio is achieved, and also to share it with those like-minded individuals who enjoy the glow-in-the-dark radios as well. I've got the tube list in my hand, and we'll head over to Mr. Ed. Hello, 7.
And hello, OTR. With this one, the Tram TR27 Echo.
All right, that gave me a good chance to set up all of my video stuff here, which I didn't get a chance to do earlier. So we'll see what happens. Just a reminder to everyone, if you go to oldtuberadio.net, even if you're listening live at 27085, you will see pictures most of the time of likenesses, or maybe the actual radio that is checking in at the moment. And of course, we will try and also insert those into the video feed. We'll see if I can do that now, if everything's working. Pretty close. All right, I think we're tuned up and semi-ready to go there. We'll go back to you for a transmission as we take a look at the green machine.
That it is. It is large and it is green. Very large meter, 3 inches tall, 3.5 inches wide, 5x7 speaker, 23 channel transmit and receive. Of course, you got the variable receive and the crystal transmit. Be nice if it had a variable.
Yeah, it's probably a way to do that, but the FCC liked that crystal control transmit. That was one of the trade-offs from going, I guess, 11 meters non-Class D to Class D to get the thing off the ground and keep the amateur operators happy. It says put them on crystal control, cut the power down, don't let them do DX, keep it non-hobby, and they'll still want to be hams, right? Getting us started off, 907. The Tram TR27 Echo. I think I have an advertisement from 1963 for that, which is when the radio came out. So what I'll do is I'll swap one of the big pictures over to that, but I wanted to get the really cool looking and huge radio. I mean, the radio is big. When you can have an S meter that big and it's not dwarfing anything on that radio. Everything is big, including your audio.
Oh, well, thank you. Also using Electro Voice 638 microphone. Tried a few others and it didn't work out too well. This one seemed to be the cleanest and clearest, so we left it there.
It's a way to do it. Hopefully we can help out with that on OTR. If you're just a reminder, as a lot of you know, if you like to check out a microphone or a series of microphones or do a test, proximity, whatever, this is a place to do. We have a lot of listeners online and live and local who can help out and give their opinions, yay or nay, thumbs up, thumbs down. Plus, we audio archive, so you can actually give your own self a radio check ex post facto when you listen in. So we're glad to do that. And Ed has found that the EV638 microphone, which is a favorite of the Collins collectors, works quite well with that radio. Switching to, if you're at oldtuberadio.net, this doesn't play really well on the video side, but I'm going to switch to... Oh, I can't do it that way. Let me go over here. I'm going to switch to the ad. Here we go. And you will see from CB Horizons Magazine, October 1963, page 33. And what I like about Tram is they gave a service tip on the advertisement of how to go in and and tweak the radio. I don't know if the FCC was happy about that, but that shows you what kind of good company and how they trusted their operators. We trust Ed, who has many radios, and getting us started off. Give us another transmission on the Tram. That's a good way to get us started.
37. Oh, thank you much there. Yeah, this one's from, like you say, 1963, so this is probably one of the older radios that I've got. I know they're standing in line, so I'll let you get to them, and I've got a couple more myself.
All right, thanks. And 37, hello, Chris, we're adding you to the mix. You will be Radio 4 in line. Go ahead and join the party that is happening right now in the green room. Stepping up to the air, thank you, Ed. Stepping up to the air chair, Paul, SWL 45 at 912. And I'm interested to see what you're keying up on. Hello, radio.
Hello, Dennis. I want to check in my general radio telephone, SB-72.
I hope there are some general radio telephone fans out there listening. There are not many. Well, there's not many general radio telephones around these days. Of course, if you tune in weekly to the Old Tube Radio Network, you'll find out that's not true. But generally, and when it comes down to what type of general radio telephones you hear, the SB-72 is one that's a really treat when it gets on the air like it is right now, because we'll talk about that radio and how back in the early days, way early days, when maybe they were doing sideband on some of the amateur frequencies, this was sort of an unknown mystery thing on the 11-meter band. And general radio telephone took a big risk in putting this thing out, and basically you had to buy another radio, I think, to talk sideband. There weren't any or many sideband radios out at all. Give us a transmission on the AM side. I don't know. Maybe we'll see if it works on sideband too. Hello, Paul. You've got radio too.
Okay. Well, like I said, this is the first, or we don't know what the first radio that is made for CB. It came out in 63, 64. But it came at about the same time that MC5 and MC6 were manufactured. They came out with this radio. Bigger radio than the normal MC there, this sideband. It's got 13 tubes in this thing. And it's got all kinds of little lights on the thing, and dials, and I'll tell you what, it's got an RC fine tuning on it, audio gain, and RF gain. So as any sideband, I'm constantly tuning these knobs to try to keep you in solid. I know you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'll get some more, but back to you. Comment.
It sounds good. Yeah, comment. Go ahead.
Paul, I noticed the longer you transmitted on that, the audio tubes and the finals got warmed up, and the louder you got. That's all I wanted to say. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
Okay, and of course your radio is transmitting double sideband on the AM, so maybe I'll swap over. We'll do a frequency check and listen to how the sidebands sound. Of course, you have a switch on the front, USB, LSB, and the thing is, this was a single sideband radio as far as I know. Yeah, it was a single sideband. The radios that came out later, the Tram and the Regency, a couple years after this, for some unknown reason, went, probably because it was easier to do, went into double sideband, or they weren't single sideband on the transmitter. Kind of messed things up. So general radio telephone way ahead of its time. 13 tubes. It has a Collins mechanical filter. I didn't know that. I'm just reading some items here. I'm looking to see if there's a price on that. That would have brought that price up Collins mechanical filters aren't cheap now, and they weren't cheap then. Super heterodyne receiver. So I'm not sure. You run a lot of Generals, Paul. I'm not sure if the receiver matches up to some of the MC series. I imagine it probably does. Over.
Yeah, like you said, it's got the great Collins mechanical filter on the thing. And it's not the filter's fault, but I can't get you real good. It's my fault. My ears, I've been trying to get this thing. For $599 and 50 cents back in 64 or 63. Pretty good chunk of change, $600 back then. And it has a, you know, the March logo, General Radio Telephone logo on the left-hand side below the meter, kind of down there. You can see it. It's a large logo. And they didn't put this on the radios until in the MC11A, I think, when they put them back on the radio. So this is one of the first ones. They still had the logo out, but they never put them on. Interesting thing. Anyway, it's a real nice radio. It's a big radio and a very complicated type radio for back then. Anyway, back to you.
Thanks. I'm going to point out, if you're watching the video, let me see if I get the mouse pointer. There's the G. It's actually a G, R, and a T. And as Paul said, you don't see that logo show up until the Super MC11 Alpha. Originally, a lot of us weren't even sure what that was on there. Somebody asked, what is that? That writing? Or is it a logo? They thought it was a picture of a guy in a wheelchair. That's where the old man in the wheelchair came from. But it's actually the GRT logo. Probably all those in the Burbank office, maybe they had a contest to see who could come up with the logo, and somebody got a bonus for doing that. We're talking about, and Paul is talking on his General Radio Telephone SB72. It's doing good. I secretly switched over to sideband when you were on the last time, and you are almost right on frequency. I mean, 10 hertz is right on frequency. The sideband audio wasn't as loud, so you can probably actually modulate it a little bit louder, but it sounds fine on AM, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you want to switch it into the USB or LSB position on the transmission or not. But anyway, we know it's working and it's sounding good. We'll go back to you for another transmission. And thanks for the General Radio Telephone SB72. Very rare.
Yeah, okay. I'm using a Turner microphone, AM plus U2 on the thing. The original microphone was like on the 9, the big, heavy mics like that. I haven't found one for it. I'd love to find one on the thing. But like I say, it's got 11 tubes in this thing, and it's got that great filter on it. And that's about it. I'll tell you what, it's just a joy to stick it in. I've got to keep on going. It still keeps me going, so I hope it continues. Thanks, Dennis, for checking it in.
Thanks for bringing it by. And Stan, SWL71, he brought back some memories, saying it's the radio he always wanted. But I think back in the day when you were having to shell out $400 when you could probably buy a used car for the same amount back when this radio came out, might be a little rough to do if you're on a high school or a college budget. The Old Tube Radio Network is what you're watching or listening to if you're 27085 or maybe on YouTube or checking us at oldtuberadio.net. And we are here every Saturday evening, thanks to our Tube Radio operators who get on the air, share their radios with us, way to drive them around the block once a week or so, and keep them happy, keeping us happy as well. Who is stepping up now in the air chair? It is Jerry, SWL25. And I just a reminder, you don't need to have an SWL number or have ever checked in before to get a radio on there. If you find yourself plugging in your Uncle Fred's old radio that you found in his basement, give it a try, and we'll talk about it. Make sure that it works. Hello, 25, over.
Hello, Dennis. I'll tell you what, I've been having a ball with the Jingle Singers, sitting back here in the green room, and thank you for having a nice chest full of beer. So, but anyway, time to step up. Let me check in real quickly. Sonar Model G, 8-channel, transmit, crystal controlled, VFO, and on the big Sonar, non-powered stock bike. Back to you.
And boy, does it sound good. I knew it was the Sonar. It's just, you have another radio, maybe the Browning, that has audio that, I call it in your face, but just it's not overdone for sure. It's just very loud. And for those listening, Jerry is not at all right down the street from me. I guess I should. I've got the S meter too, but the radios are so cool looking. I haven't focused on this incoming signal. There we go. Sonar Model E. It appears to have, and I don't know if this is just the way my camera's picking this up, but it's got an illuminated front or a light above the meter. It's weird. It's like it's got a panel light in there somewhere.
Yeah, well, I don't know about you. Unfortunately, the display light is out on this thing, the bulb. I got to replace it. But anyway, boy, I tell you what, Chris is having fun. We've all been having fun with the Jingle Singers, and I think they're ready to rock and roll. But anyway, thanks, Dennis, for checking it in, and thanks for what you do.
Yeah, well, appreciate what everybody else does. That's sort of what I was. Okay, Harvey. Harvey's mentioning that is a light underneath there, and getting some comments that the radios may not be from SWL 135, but there's, as Crazy Bob tells us, the what do they call it, a piece of toast microphone, very big. But maybe that's why it's a loud audio. If you're a loudmouth, that's the perfect microphone. I know Jerry. He's a musician, so he kind of, sometimes he lets the instrument do the talking, as he's doing right now with the Sonar Model G. What can I tell you about it? $230. So a whole lot less than the SB72 back in the day. Sounding good. Thanks, Jerry, for bringing it by. It's very loud. I hope you get a chance to listen to the audio archives. You will be proud of that. Where are we going? Oh, a gentleman who has some very loud radios of his own, but I never know, since his collection is so large, what part of the Radio Shack he might be in. Hello, Chris. And curious to see where you have the coax connected. Over.
It's connected. It's connected to a little radio here. We're checking in on the Chris 23 Plus, a CB transceiver. Here is with the original handheld stock microphone. Over.
Perfect fit for that radio, the 23 Plus. I have some photographic evidence that radio exists, even though we're hearing it. And sometimes people, they want to see proof that there was such a radio. Actually, there were a few radios. They might not have looked like this, but the internal workings were a little bit similar. I believe this is one of the plate modulated Panasonic chassis with the 11 tubes. Operator's manual is over at oldtuberadio.com. It sounds good for Radio 4. Give us another transmission. Over. Yeah, hopefully it's still working. But if it's not, it has made its check-in. It is official. Let me take this moment while we're waiting for Chris to bang on the top of the radio to say hello to those who made it back to the video side. Brian, having to pass on a Browning Mark III. That's those two words shouldn't go together, like pass and Browning Mark III. It should have shown up in the in your station wagon. Local Hamfest. Asking 250. Not bad, I guess. It's hard to say. Who else is out there? I see a lot of you made it back to the video. That's a good thing. Drake equipment for sale. And who's looking for shelves? Somebody's looking for building some shelves. I'll briefly talk about what I've got here and probably avoid what I'm doing. Chris, are you there?
Yes, I am. I had a little technical difficulties, but yes, I am back.
All right. I was hoping this would not be the technical difficulty frequency tonight, but you sound perfect now.
Yeah, I just had a loose connection or something somewhere. A little tap, and a little tap, and a little tap, and then finally tapped into position. So, yeah, I got a gremlin. Yeah.
All right. Well, you have sufficiently chased the gremlins away. That was 100% key down, or is it key up? Anyways, 100% audio. Audio sounds good. Radio 4, the Chris 23 Plus here at the Old Tube Radio Network. The Jingle Singers are banging on the glass. So take another transmission, make sure it's still working, and we'll head over to the Jingle Singers.
Okay, and I'll be back in just a couple of minutes with a new one.
New is good. We've got plenty of room on the radio list tonight. Oh, I was going to make a comment about these shelves here are actually, what are these? These are doors. These are the sliding closet doors that come in, I don't know if they're on a 36-inch, then you got two 18-inch doors. They're bifold, that's what they are. They're bifold doors. So it makes a nice 18-inch deep shelf, and I like the fact that they're thick. The only thing is, a lot of these closet doors are not solid, so you got to be careful you're putting a lot of weight without some center support, but you can't see. Can you see that one there? I have actually some center supports to keep it from bowing, but I have a lot of weight on it, so you have to be careful with that. But that works pretty good. Door, and this is a door. This table here is a solid door. This is a solid core, like a 32-inch door. It didn't have the handle. I bought this long ago. Anybody remember Long's Building Supply? I think I got this from Long's Building Supply. This is my second amateur radio desk. And then just trimmed it up and stained it and put the shellac or whatever it is, the shiny surface coating on there. And that has worked really well. And then it's just supported. You can do with some file cabinets. Puts it up about the right height. So that's a good quickie way to go. You can buy furniture, you can buy the little computer tables, you can do anything you want. But if you're looking to build something, sometimes an old door and the closet doors and your 2x8, 2x10 supports, it gives you room in the back to get through. And then the racks, the rack pieces, even an old piece of rack here works really good. The Old Tube Radio Network is saying the Jingle Singers, it's time for them.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, your favorite spot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
And we were looking for Radio 5.
Break OTR.
Break OTR. Hello once again, Chris.
Okay. This is not Chris, but I do have a Super MC2A here. Roger.
It's that radio. It's that full-bodied audio. And I even mistakenly wrote the wrong name in here. So let me cross that out. And we'll put in the dual 4s and the 360 Radio 5. But you sound great on that radio, by the way. Everybody sounds good, but then you sound, what do they say? Mellifluous. Yes, the mellifluous tones of a Mr. 360 on another General Radio Telephone. Back to you.
Yeah, and it's, excuse me, I was corrected here. It's not a 2, it's an 11A.
And how would we know that? I mean, if we didn't have any reference, if there was never a 9 and an 8 and a 7, it could very well be a 2A. It'd be like the trams, right? But since we know there was a progression of sorts, then we will go with the standard 11A. I guess you could freak a lot of people out saying that you've got the general radio telephone MC2A, and they would go search eBay. I am going to find the general radio telephone 11C AM photo and get that online, and on your next transmission we'll add that to the mix so they can see what kind of great radio makes your great voice sound good on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Well, thank you, Dennis. I've always liked the audio on this radio, so I'm proud to be able to check it in for Chris tonight.
Doing a good job, and that is, let's see, do I have it there? I've got the pictures really large. I'm going to pan down just a little bit, tilt down, so you can see the microphone. I do believe you are running the stock microphone that we're showing here. This is a picture from Cliff, and that's what's making all that audio. There's no Demco modulator in line. It's just a good radio and a good operator. Radio 5, give us a transmission.
All right, Dennis, I'm going to have to get out of here shortly. I've got to get back over to Mom's house. Hello, everybody out there in OTR land. And as you probably figured out, we're not in Utah. We're in Fresno. 73, everybody, and hope to talk live again soon.
Well, we are expecting some conditions. Remember this voice. It may not come in quite at the 10/9 signal when we hear it again from the home QTH, but I'm pretty sure we will hear it again. Good to have you in town. And thanks, Chris, for hosting and opening up the radio room and the general radio telephone sounding great on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Okay, Dennis, this is me this time. I will be back with another here in a few.
All right, we will be standing by. Yeah, Corey, that is the stock microphone. So basically the only way you turn things down is to back off a little bit. But that's how much gain is coming out of that radio without any type of amplification from the microphone. In fact, you wouldn't want to have an amplified microphone. You'd end up having to turn it way down. So when you get that much audio, you can play around like Ed did. Find if your electro voice mic works or Shure mic works, and then tailor it that way. But it's amazing. I don't think he has to touch a thing running the stock microphonium. The Old Tube Radio Network, we are looking for Radio 6.
SWL number 7.
It's 6 and it's 7. Hello, Ed.
And hello, OTR and everyone else out there listening. This time from E.F. Johnson, the Messenger 223.
All right, I'm getting to know that radio has a distinctive little crackly crunch when it keys up. I think it's the relay switch in there, but it has plenty of audio when it kicks in. Somehow I've lost my main big page. It's got all the pictures on it. I'm going to have to bring that back up. But in the meantime, give us a transmission on your Elmer Fudd Johnson.
There you go. Good old Elmer Fudd Johnson. Yeah, tried some different microphones out on this one, too. Found that the stock microphone was quite anemic, could barely be heard, but the D104 Silver Eagle definitely works really well. In fact, I can turn it up way too loud.
Yeah, it's almost sort of like, well, I don't really need the amplified microphone if I have to turn it down all the way. So it's a matter of, does it give you the tone quality that you're looking for? Here is the shot, if you're watching the video, of, there were a couple of styles of Messenger 223. This is the one that does not have the modulation light. There's one that has a little red modulation light in the front panel. And on one of the Facebook sites, someone had posted one of the Sears Roebucks, which are really hard to find, and I don't know which. The front was a little different. I don't think they had a different speaker grill. And I can't remember if it had the modulation light or not, but there was a Sears Roebuck version of that has the SR, the little atomic-looking SR logo. Ed is probably going to tell us that there are a few modifications to the one that he has that we're not seeing here. It doesn't affect how it sounds, but it does look cool. Back to you.
There you go. It has been modified with blue LED lights in the place where the S meter and channel selector are, and also the little brass or whatever centers that were on the switch knobs are actually Buffalo nickels now, so looks kind of cool.
That actually raises the price 10 or 15 cents if you were on eBay, no doubt. And we'll have to get the I think the mint mark on the nickel is on the front, so we'll have to get the dates and the mint mark. Maybe it's even $2 or $3 if they're one of those coins that hasn't been minted a lot. Messenger 223, a radio that we often suggest if you're looking to get into the old tube radio thing or start a collection. Here's a great radio to have as your first or maybe only radio. 23 channels, the S meter's on. Typically comes with a microphone when you find it, although not all the time. Easy to put one in. Got to remember that it is electronic switching. Ed will tell you what happens when you have electronic switching. Something you have to remember. Typically the prices are also, and they sold a lot of these. 1969 to 1972, so they sold a lot of them. Great workhorse. The Johnson Messenger 223, back to you.
Yeah, if you go out and buy one of these things without the microphone, and you bring it home, you turn it on, and it warms up, and then nothing happens, well, it's because you have to have the microphone plugged in order to receive on it.
Electronic switching. Typically, the electronic switching radios I remember were the really small solid-state ones. Radio Shack had some, and I found out kind of the hard way, too. I did something like that. I'm thinking, man, the thing's not working. And back in the days when you get educated about antennas and electronic switching, all that good stuff. So a nice item to pass along. Radio 6 sounding good. We'll go back to you for another transmission, the Old Tube Radio Network, where real radios glow in the dark just like this one.
There you go. We got one more to bring by. Oh, you know what I should do? I've got a stock microphone. I should set it on here so you can tell the difference.
Sure. It's already wired up so you could plug it in? He's probably doing now.
Yes, there it is. The stock microphone. It probably scratches a bit. But that's all there is to the stock one. So you can tell there's quite a bit of audio difference.
Oh, yeah. Big audio difference. That still crackles a bit on the in and out in the transmit. And I think the audio percentage is down enough. I just switched over to the S meter. I think I'm usually seeing a 20 over on this, so that's probably your extra little forward push from the audio. It hasn't got enough audio to swing the carrier up.
Yeah, this is the actual Johnson mic that came stock with it. I've got another one over here that I'm working on, so they had the stock microphone. And, yeah, I think the other one works quite a bit better.
Mm-hmm, and that sounds like it may have a cable issue. And I could hear it almost like the cord was swinging off the edge of the desk or something. It was going whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And as we get the crackle, then I get the push on the carrier. You can see it as it crackles, it pushes it up to 20 over. So your crackle is 100%. You, on the other hand, as he switches back to the other microphone.
There we go. I had to switch to the other one.
Yeah, I figured you were switching. That's right. You can't hear us talking about you when you pull that microphone out, can you?
No, not at all.
All right. Well, it does sound good and working good. Obviously, your crackle is at 100% modulation sometimes. Doing good. Radio 6, the E.F. Johnson Messenger 223. I've got the Jingle Singer standing by. I want to say hello to who's listening in to us tonight. Who just joined us? Sacramento. Up near your town today. Had to turn off at just above Stockton on Highway 12, heading to Fairfield up to Santa Rosa. So didn't quite make it to Sacramento, but boy, the weather was certainly nice up in the Bay Area. The Old Tube Radio Network, real radio's glowing in the dark, and let the jingle singers tell us what happens here.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, the friendliest station for you by far is known to all and
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
Station for you is OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network. We are looking for Radio 7. And shortwave listener 45, that would be Paul up in North Fork. Hello, sir.
Yeah, kind of got quiet there, so I saved this one here for an emergency. This is my Lafayette Constat 35 without the red nose.
Well, you say nose, and of course, Bozo Control honks the red proboscis. I'll check if we have a picture of the Lafayette Comstat 35. They often show up with the red. I don't know if it's an insert. In fact, yes, it does. Let me put that in there. I'm not sure if that was an applique or a decal, or if the knob actually was painted something like that, so it'd be very hard to remove the red. I guess the question comes out, is that the original knob you have, or did they just change them around? In the meantime, we'll go back to you for transmission, because the audio sounds great on the Lafayette. Over.
Yeah. By the way, this thing has 11 tubes in the thing. My goodness. And it's also made in Korea. That's kind of unusual. They usually have these made in Japan, if made by Panasonic. They must have got a special deal with them or something. But it seems like pretty solid radio without the red nose. I'm trying to find one with a red nose I can pick up visible enough just to have the nose on the thing. I don't know what happened to it. Anyway, back to you.
Yeah, it might not be the original knob, or maybe something happened to it. Maybe they just didn't like it, whoever you got it from. Originally, there is the 35. That may have been, do you think that was their last tube radio? Lafayette farmed out to a lot of the Japanese imports on a lot of their radios. I think the earlier ones were made, some of them were made by DeWalt, which I think was USA. I could be wrong about that, but indeed, 11 tubes. Got a couple of 12 AX7s in there, and AT7 and a 12 AX7. Probably one of those is for the audio. And I'm also showing that it's a Panasonic chassis produced in Korea. I'm looking. Is that 23 channels, right? That's not a 40 channel radio. It's 23.
Yeah, 23 channel. It has a blank space where the extra channel could go on the thing.
All right, so that's before 1976, 75. The blank channel, probably when they started synthesizing the crystals, where you didn't need all 23 channels or 23 crystals to go in the socket. You could do some multipliers. You ended up having a spot for 22A or 22B or something like that. So that's the old secret channel. Nice audio. You told me, I think you told me the microphone, but I didn't write it down. I'd like to hear what microphone you're running again. Over.
I'm not using my favorite Turner on this thing. I'm using a static D104 M6B on the thing. Of course, it never had a microphone when I got it, which is normal with a lot of the radios. They must have gotten lost out there. But it seems to be doing a good job. Not my favorite mic, but they work well, too.
Well, sounds good. Nice full audio and loud with being overdone. Yeah, what is that with selling? I think that's the out. Selling a radio without the microphone, saying, well, I don't have a mic, so I can't really test it, even though in the background you see a whole bunch of microphones. Maybe they don't fit or something. But doggone it, if you're out there listening, if you sell a radio, try and find a microphone for it. Not everybody flips them around. I would like to get out there and talk as a courtesy to that one person. It's their first radio. They don't have to go searching for a microphone. Put a microphone on your radio. Radio 7, Lafayette Comstat 35B, our first Lafayette of the evening. It sounds great, Paul. We'll go back to you for transmission, and thanks for bringing it by.
Yeah, okay. That's actually a nice-looking radio. It's got a brushed aluminum front on the thing with black, as you can see in the picture. And actually, it looks a little bit better without that red nose on it, I think, but I'm sure going to get a stock if I replant a nose. All right. Thanks for checking in, Dennis.
All right, thanks for bringing it by. The Old Tube Radio Network is what you're listening to, perhaps watching. Hello there. Checking the video monitor. It is Big Ben. The sun isn't even up. The sun is not even shining over the Forest of Nottingham. And I think I see Ben online with it. Ben, a question about Chuckles and Vinegar. Did they ever get back into the circus? You know, those two tragic clowns, I'm not sure what they're doing. Bozo Control, honking the proboscis, I think is a friend. And I've asked him to do not open the door if Chuckles and Vinegar come by. We're looking for radio number 8. Also want to wave a hand to the Ohio gang, Westchester and Oxford, Steve and Bob out there listening. And we'll do a refresh on the other page, see who has joined us here on the Old Tube Radio Network. I think Randy from Florida is getting late there. Looks like he's dropped out. Anybody else? We're looking for Radio H on the Old Tube Radio Network. Still kind of quiet tonight. Was reading that the sunspot numbers for last week were at 0 again. So those of you saying the conditions haven't been very good, that is why. I've not had a chance to listen in on the HF bands. I don't know if Ed, if your Delta Loop is helping to pull things out. They're out there, but when the band is bad, that's where an antenna comes in a nice antenna comes in quite handy.
Yeah, they've been pretty bad. 20 was really like USB, fading in and out. 40 meters was almost non-existent. Then we come in for a little bit, so yeah, it's been bad.
Yeah, that's what's bugging me. Usually 40 you think is good, and I will tune through, and even on the Starduster, I can usually hear something on 40, the nets or whatever, and I just go through, and there's absolutely nothing. I'm in a Facebook group for some of the AM guys, and they'll post it. I'm on 7290. I'm calling. There's nobody out there, so it is slim pickings at the moment. But we always say that is a great time to start building your station, building your antennas, getting everything set up so that when the conditions improve, you're not out there climbing the tree, putting up the wire. You are ready to have some fun and grab some action. So now is the time to do it. Now's a good time to also think about either upgrading your license or getting into the amateur radio hobby as well. And it will only get better in the next 6-7 years. It will only get better. So it'll be fun. You'll be getting in on the ground floor, as they say. The Old Tube Radio Network, Jingle Singers, they'll help us find radio number 8, I bet.
You're listening in the latest style at
27.085 megahertz.
on your dial. That's
Channel 11 Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
37.
37. Hello, Chris.
Well, what radio am I on?
You are key up again.
Key up again. Okay.
Oh, okay. You are on the Helicrafters.
Exactly right. Anyway, Dennis, I'd like to check in my Helicopter CB3A, an 8-channel transceiver, and we are on channel E, which is the 4th one up, I believe. A, B, C, D. Yeah. Let's see. Well, it's the 5th one. Sorry about that. Yeah, 5th letter. I got to learn how to count my alphabets again. But yeah, channel 2. that's what the background said. Channel 2. The radio, number 2 radio. Yeah. But anyway, just second radio. But anyway, this one here now. This was the handheld carbon stock microphone.
You fooled me when you first came on. That's why I had to have you rekey, because you were really into the microphone. And so the audio was loud, but it was louder than it normally is. And that fooled me, so I had to, I guess, cheat a little bit and ask you to retransmit. Okay, why is my audio changing? Boy, I hope I've set up, let me check something here for the right audio. No, we're in studio. So anybody listening, you might notice the internet audio just came up. For some reason it was on the low side. Trying to keep everything consistent here between net control and the radio. That's a great picture. It looks like it might be a little bit overexposed, but give us another transmission. There is a lot of history in the Helicrafters company here. They did a lot more than CB radios, but a lot of people never heard of that name until the CBs came out.
Okay. Well, anyway, this one here, and it's still working. I just thought I'd get in here and check this in real quick. I guess Mr. Raymond's getting ready to leave here pretty soon. I'll spend a couple of minutes here with him saying our goodbyes and whatnot. He threw everybody off there for a little bit. You thought he was me on General, huh?
You know, he just stepped right up and got into that microphone with confidence, and it was like, wow, it's loud and commanding attention.
That's right for you.
All right, well, like I said, again, thanks. Glad he's in town and able to get some time to come out, and thanks for hosting and opening up the Radio Shack. And we will be listening for the mellifluous tones beaconing from the base station on the DX. The Helicrafters radio sounds good for radio number 8.
Oh, yeah, Dennis. I'll be back in a few.
Sometimes we have radio issues. Tonight we're having camera issues. Don't ever add pictures to radio. It just messes it up.
Well, thank God there's no pictures on radio.
Yeah, it's called television. Which is a big thing now, adding video content to your radio broadcast. In other words, we're talking about that at the conference. That seems, everybody's got a phone now with a screen on it. Sometimes it's hard to get people to listen to radio unless it comes in with some type of video content.
But there you go. They have to have something to watch, man. There's all those people out there standing around and they're all looking at their phone.
It's a nice alternative, I suppose. In fact, I saw a cartoon, and one of those single frame cartoons, and it said something about early. It was something about the 1960s, and there was a family at the dinner table, and the dad was looking at the two kids and saying about, it's dinner time. Stop looking at your phones. And of course they had, it was very ridiculous. They had the nice Ma Bell dial phones, these huge phones that they were just staring at. I thought, okay, well, so something has changed somewhere.
Yeah, staring at the rotary to see what's going to happen. Yeah, that wouldn't work.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Staring at your phones. I have a feeling that if I was to, as the word suggest, or inquire, if I was to inquire that you may have Radio 9.
Oh, yeah, I guess I could be radio number 9.
Yeah, that'll give us ever so close to the double-digit radios, which is sort of our goal. At least check in. Well, at least check in one, I guess, is a good goal, and a better goal is to check in 1 times 10. So we're almost there with the addition of the next item of interest that you will tell us about.
Oh, okay. Well, this one is the largest one that I have. The Brownie Golden Eagle Mark III SSB takes up 32 inches of space on the radio desk here. In fact, I bought the desk especially for this radio.
Now, did you buy the desk before you had the radio in hopes, that St. Nicholas would soon be there, or did you, once you got the radio, you realized like, was it Robert Shaw? Who was the guy in Jaws? Who realized he needed a bigger boat?
Exactly. My shelves would not hold this monster radio, so what I did is I bought a stand for a TV, which was made for a better, about 36-inch TV screen, and because that way is narrower, it holds the radio quite well. It works out really nice. Break.
Breaker acknowledged. Good info. One of our viewers was talking about doing shelves. So there's an idea. Who is it? Corey. There's an idea, Corey. A stand for a TV or something. Make it a big display. Have a separate shelf. Have a separate stand for each radio. Get a really big room. It'd be like a museum. We can display and kind of walk around. Radio number 9, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. As I've got a great picture, thanks to the great photo lab of SWL 135, we will hear the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB one more time, a radio that was produced from 1972 to 1976, maybe longer, had they not figured out that it was okay to do 40 channels. Back to you.
And with that, a little bit of a squeal for the send-off, and hopefully there'll be a couple more radios out there.
Perhaps. We'll see. Anyway, thank you, Ed. The breaking station, this is the Old Tube Radio Network. Go ahead.
I hope you're not going to tell me I'm too late to check in.
This is the You Are Not Too Late frequency as Net Control pulls out the SWL sheet, which is always at the ready, and is preparing to get you on the big board when I go back to you and you say the magic words. Just like that, SWL 64 checking in. Those across the universe looking at the Old Tube Radio Network see the word checked in, SWL 64. Good job, sir.
Thank you very much.
The TRW swap meet. I got a few radios at the one of our viewers, Ashnasi there is talking about the TRW swap meet. I didn't even know it was still going. I go down there often. I used to make a point to make sure I was down. I think it was last weekend of each month. Before this was 25 years ago. Easy. I'm trying to think. Mid 80s, maybe 30 years ago. No, tell me that's not true. And all it was radios. That's when it was only radios, and I think they were allowing some computer stuff, but that was it. If you were a buyer, you could go right into the parking lot. If you were a seller, they had the big line wrapping around the block. But anyway, I picked up, I think I picked up a landliner for my Yaesu FT101. I picked up not one, but two Gonset G76s with the power supplies, and they were $25. And so this was, I'm going to say this is mid to late 80s. So this is well before eBay was anywhere on the scene, and the prices were great. Once eBay happened, the TRW swap meet was pretty much toast for me because everybody started checking the prices on eBay and saying, well, if they're getting that price for this radio, then that's what I'm going to ask for it. And it got really ridiculous. So I hope that the TRW swap meet has gotten better or improved. I think now they allow a lot of things. They used to be no vendors. So you couldn't have people bringing in a lot of like connectors and things like that. I think they changed that. But I wax poetic on the TRW swap meet mainly because I grew up. My early CB days, I grew up a mile from TRW. That's where I grew up, and so going back to that was always fun. And the swap meet was great. And you know, even if you couldn't afford what was there, it was just great getting there at Sunday or Saturday at 7 a.m. and just walking through everything. And I have not done that in years and years, and it's good to hear that it may still be going. This is the Old Tube Radio Network.
Makes me sad because I haven't been to a swap meet in a long time.
Nor have I. And it's not even TRW anymore. It's forever it was TRW. Now it's Northrop Grumman, which is where I had one of my first summer jobs back in 1973, 74, because my dad worked there. It's Northrop Grumman took it over. It's not even TRW, but I guess they still call it the TRW swap meet. They had a great, TRW had a really good, and it may still be up there somewhere, radio club. A friend of mine who got his ham license when I was supposed to be getting mine in the early 70s, his dad was in the TRW amateur radio club. He had a Heathkit. This was one of my first contacts on the Heathkit. I know that voice. No, you checked in. Or no, you didn't check in. If you did check in, I didn't mark it. Over.
No, I didn't. I had a late gig tonight. So, well, I guess better late than never. Greetings from the Radio Lounge, SOBL 47. Looking at the W6TRW Amateur Radio Club webpage in Redondo Beach. Is that where it was?
It is in Redondo Beach, right on the border there between Lawndale and Manhattan Beach and El Segundo, yes. And 20 acknowledged.
All right. Well, there's one in the queue, so I'll make this short. So, for your listening pleasure, a Robin T123. There was a station that checked in a while ago, and I was reaching down to try and fine-tune it. And then I realized I have no variable receive on this guy. It's all crystal controlled. But Robin T123 with the just absolutely, it still is not old. It still fascinates me. The Magic Eye Tube. I think the 6RE13 Magic Eye Tube. You yap into the microphone. And a bar in the vertically mounted Magic Eye Tube. Bar goes from the top down and from the bottom up and closes as you open your vocal cords.
There, I got the picture. I apologize for the video tonight. It's just, I can't, for some reason, the camera control software is gone. It's missing. And I don't know where to find it. I will find it. I could make some better adjustments. And the screen is not right. But for those who aren't familiar with the Robin T123, there's a good shot. And what our operator is talking about, that's SWL 47. Mike is talking about, let me see if I can get the pointer here. There it is, 6RE13. That is looking into the side of a tube. That's actually, you're looking directly into the side of the tube, and the two bluish-green illuminations, as you increase the audio or the voltage or however they work it, those two top and bottom illuminations come closer together as you get towards what in theory would be 100% modulation. They use that for tuning devices and other audio things like that, but that's a really cool thing that, of course, you aren't going to see on any radio made today. So if you like to operate with the lights down low, this is the radio for you. Radio 10, thanks for putting us over into the double-digit mode, and we'll go back to you for another transmission on radio number 10.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, these Magic Eye tubes are definitely mesmerizing. And I got a comment that up until just recently, I had only seen, these, 11-meter radios with Magic Eye tubes, of course, some of the old AM radios like the RCA radios from the 30s and 40s with the Magic Eye tubes. For the first, they had always had just one Magic Eye tube, and I have to tell you that for the very first time on eBay, I saw some sort of one of these super old radios from the 30s or 40s. It actually had two Magic Eye tubes, and I can't remember the brand name of this radio or the manufacturer, but that sucker sold for an earth-shaking price. I was watching it, so I should be able to pull it up and see what it went for, but it was just amazing. I wish this thing had more than one, but I guess one's enough on it. And you're right, it does look really cool out in the dark, especially on the radio patio, which I haven't taken it to for a long time. These radios are always great because they're one piece, only one piece to it. So, you pop it in the car. At least I used to pop it in the car, and it was great. I got to do that before the weather starts getting too cold. But anyways, fun to use, easy to operate, one piece, easy to move around, plus the Magic Eye tube. But what more can you ask for?
Not much, but we'll find out when Radio 11 comes in, who's standing by there on the west side. I suppose what they could have done is added one of the other, I call it the Pac-Man style, not the 6RE13, the 6ME5. Anyway, it's the other style, and use it as a peak tuning meter. You've got the S meter, which is how you would do it, but you would have to have a variable delta tune or a variable receive, and then you would do what they did on the old Zenith radios and some of the radios where as you tuned in the AM signal, as the signal got to its maximum strength, the two sides of the illuminations would touch together. It would get the maximum voltage, maximum current, however they did it, and show you that you were completely tuned in. So that would be a cool addition. You could get two lights. You'd have one for your audio and one for the peak tuning, which would be a little hard because it's great for an AM broadcast because they stay on for hours and hours, 24 hours. You would have to say, could you key your microphone again while I tune in my Magic Eye? Robin T123, the first in the series of the 123, 123B, 240D. I want to say this chassis was a bit different. I'm not showing that this is an import like the 123B. It could be 12-volt DC. It will do mobile. We've had some mobile check-ins from maybe that very radio. I don't remember, but radios like that. And 115-volt AC. 11 tubes. They actually threw a couple of transistors in back in the day, just because they could. Go back to you for another transmission, Mike. Thanks for bringing that in, getting us into the double-digit radios. Harvey is ready to go, but I want to hear from you one more time because it's always nice to have our tube radio operators spend some time with us out of their busy Saturday evenings.
Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry, Harvey, just one last quick question. So you mentioned something about an import chassis. I don't know where this radio is manufactured. Is this Japanese or is it American?
I don't show that's a good question. I don't show that it's an import. I know the B was, but I'm not sure that this is or not from Robin. Maybe everything they did was. So I can't officially answer that question.
Okay. Well, I'm sure if I got up out of my chair, I could probably look on the back of the radio and find the answer after that question. But I have a feeling someone that's probably in a rather warm tough shed might be able to answer that question by memory. So on that, I think I will send it back to you. Thanks for letting me check it in. What a joy it is to use these delightful old radios. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. That is why the Old Tube Radio Network has been on the air most Saturday evenings, 8 p.m. Pacific time, because the radio collectors and radio operators out there enjoy doing this. And so that gives us a reason. All the net controllers that we've had gives us a reason to be out there and acknowledge them. Speaking of acknowledgement, Harvey, we passed the top of the hour here without the jingle sticker, so I'm going to make you wait a little bit longer. And the weather is nice here. It's a cool, it's 79. It feels much cooler than that. It's cool, 79 in the Radio Shack here. So I know you're not roasting out there, so you will be okay with the fact that the jingle singers would like to tell us about the magic that is the Old Tube Radio Network.
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic.
Old Tube Radio.
For you.
Hello, Harvey. Come in. Over. All right, it's working. I hear you. Maybe if you were intending to do a range boost, isn't there because you're into the noise a little bit, not full quieting, but I can hear you. Over. Are you range boosting? All right. Just the signal is a little bit low in the noise, but you have audio and it's fully nice, good audio kind of stuff. So I think it's working that way. Don't sell yourself short. I may not have 100% copy if you want to try it that way, but not a problem. And did Randy come back? Did we? I think we're talking too loud here on the West Coast. I think Randy in Florida just popped back. Anyway, we are looking for Radio 11 to come back, which is Harvey on the Browning. Okay. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, what can I do? Let me check. Let me see if there's anything I need to comment on, because we will be jumping out of here in a few minutes. We want to check in the radios. We did get a late start on the radios. No comments on the main page, and over to the video guys. A lot of people out there watching the video tonight. And somebody says 80 meters, 75 is hopping. I'll have to, maybe we'll listen in. Actually, no, I don't think I can listen in tonight. I've got one of the things I got to get done. I'll have to pop down there and see if the any of the 3870, 3880, 3885, any of the big irons out there on the West Coast. And Buck, I have a Grundig somewhere in the other room. I don't know what style it is, but I do believe it's got a magic eye in it as well. And it's probably for the, and my Zenith has a magic eye for the tuning indicator. OTR standing by.
I can buy him a couple more moments if he needs.
Yeah, go ahead. What did the coax find for you?
Well, unfortunately, it's not what the coax found, but what the internet did. That swap meet you were talking about, boy, you've really piqued my curiosity here right now. Harvey, I'll buy you a couple moments here. The W6TRV swap meet is always on the last Saturday of the month, so no matter what, rain, shine, or holiday. It's 7 o'clock to 11:30 a.m. Blah, 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 blah. They talk about charges. So this thing's still going on. The monthly swap meet sees an average of 130 to 150 vendors. Oh, my God. And approximately 2,000 to 3,000 buyers. If that's true, that's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, as I was telling the other station there, it's been a very long time since I have been to one, but that's where I picked the guns. It was just, and I used to make a point, when I was going down there to visit, to make sure that it was on the last weekend, back when I actually had some weekends off. And I was there at 7 in the morning in that line at the TRW swap meet. But like I said, this was pre-eBay days, when the prices were great and you didn't have to pick through a lot of, it was all amateur radio and maybe computer related, but it was radio stuff and stereo gear, things like that. It was electronics. And there were no vendors, although some of the vendors weren't bad. If you went looking for connectors and things like that. So, did I hear Harvey come back over? I'll take that as a negative. The TRW swap meet at the corner of where is it? Aviation and Marine, I think, is where it's at. You get off the 405 and you go into the big train trestle, make that left turn, and there they are.
Yep. Let's see here. The southeast corner. That's amazing that you can remember it, especially at this late hour of the night. The southeast corner of Aviation Boulevard and Space Park Drive, or one traffic signal south of Marine Avenue. And you're right, the vendors are required to limit the sales of their amateur radio-related equipment and accessories, electronic items, parts, and tools, and computers, and related items. The sale of food or general merchandise is not allowed. As always, you hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah, see, I grew up down there, so I know it well. And Corey's mentioning, and that's a good point, Corey. 3,000 buyers equals slim pickings. So maybe not as bad. Well, it actually sounds as bad as eBay, where you're in competition with the entire world. That was the other thing. You might be in competition with two other guys at a table. Or if you got there first, it was something you really wanted. It was yours. Or you could actually circle around and go back, and it's like, it's still there. Oh, man, no one's bought it. It's still there. I guess I'm going to have to buy it.
And that's the location you got your Civil Defense radio at?
Civil Defense Radio was here at the Fresno Amateur Radio Club. The two Gonset G76s, one was one weekend, $25. Then like a year later, months later, go back, and there's another one. It's the same price, it's $25. Some guy said, yeah, this is our old field day radio. We don't use it anymore. Yeah, pack it up. Lugging that thing through the parking lot, out to the thing. But it is, labor of love.
That's a delightful story. I'm sorry that I haven't been able to participate in something like that. One of these days.
All right. I think we went 19 after. Thanks for a lot of people staying up late into Sunday for the old Tube Radio. I want to go a little bit extra because we got a late start on the Tube Radio site. We may have our final check-in of the evening here. I heard it do its thing. Hello, Harvey.
No, it's still not right. I think I probably have a flat tube. But this is how it sounds without the tone control. Okay?
Okay, so this is it right now. It is actually, whatever you did it has improved. So just for your note, you have to tell us what you did, but it has definitely improved it. And so before you do anything, do you have a second to explain, because we talked about this radio last week, maybe explain what it is that you did and then what you're going to test. Do you have a minute to do that?
Okay. According to the trams, they put a .005 ceramic cap in the audio circuit between the audio amp and the modulator with a 500K pot. Now, I found a similar circuit in here. It's going to take like a 10 meg pot, and I've only got a 1 meg right now. I'll go to where I've got the other potentiometers maybe tomorrow and pick up the 10 meg pot. But I've got a control in, and it makes the ping sound terrible, but it does change the tone, which is what I want to see. So I'll give it a shot.
All right, yeah, you sound, whatever you did sounds better on the receive for everybody else to hear. Harvey is on a Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68 radio, which we have a picture up, and correct me if I'm wrong about that. He was having, or we were experiencing last week when we checked this radio in, and he has another R68 T68 with very nice sounding audio, and we were wondering, well, why does this one have the limited low frequency response? Is there something going on? So he went in. First, we checked the circuit for a tram like the D201, which has the tone control, and what it is that creates that. And he mentioned it was the capacitor. Maybe you can give us the value of that again when you come back. And so I believe what he's doing is inserting that circuit or that capacitor in the audio chain in the coupling area there, to see if he can't recreate something like that. Is that sort of what's going on? Over?
Roger. Also, I think I flattened out a tube in this, so we'll take care of that next week. The actual manual for the T68 owner's manual says that the audio is filtered for good communication sound through a choke coil, excuse me, a big choke, and 2 capacitors. When I buried one of them, it didn't do anything, or it didn't do much. This other one makes a big difference. So, I'm going to insert it. I took the old one out, and the old one is actually not in there at all right now. And then I'm inserting this one, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, and we're recording this on the archive, so you can go back and listen. And I agree with you. The Brownings have their sound. All the Browning sounds like a Browning, the audio quality. There's not a lot of low frequencies. When I'm running the audio board through the Browning, it just rolls off everything below 250 hertz. You can crank all your low frequencies up, and the radio going through that coupling circuit will just throw it away. It won't pass it, because Browning wants their radios to sound like a Browning. And you're right about the ping. That since it's coming through the speaker and it's your microphone and how it sounds, you can change the tone of the ping. And so they thought about this and engineered it that way. So you're sort of, I guess, bypassing their engineering and making your own Browning sound. Back to you.
Okay, here we go. I gotta keep the mic, and I don't have much room in here, so I don't know how well you can hear me, but I don't want to blow myself up. Here we go. Now, the drop-off is going to be super gradual. Okay, and I'm watching the meter, and the meter will show some of it. Okay, that's maximum right there. Okay, hardly any swing because I think I flattened the tube, or put it just flat anyway. Okay, that's the audio all the way up.
which rolls off, when you said the audio is all the way up, it's actually rolled off the low frequencies. And in theory, because you're getting rid of some information, you know, if you're looking at the spectrum scope, you're getting rid of some information. I think the audio is actually, the volume, if you will, is actually less because you've rolled off some of the low end.
Oh, yeah. Okay. What I have to do is find Mr. Happy Medium. So what I'm going to do is, whoops, there's a mic cord in the wrong spot. Hold on. Okay. I backed it down a little bit. How's that? All right, turned up the high a little bit. How's that? Did it kind of end up in the middle, or is it back to too high?
No, that gives you more volume. It's, you know, almost sounds like a Browning on the Crystal D104. So that gives you some volume, which you need. Now, I don't know if there's a way to add. See, it's weird. It's like you need to add the low frequency to get and still keep the same volume. It sounds like what happens is it attenuates something and brings the volume down. But that is better in the, we'll call it, audio gain modulation percentage department, I do believe.
Okay. I listened to the ping. Okay, which is acceptable. Hang on here. Okay, I cranked it up a little bit more. Now, I can tell the audio is not good, but that's because I think I got a bad tune.
All right, so when you say you cranked it up, are we adjusting gain, or are you adjusting, I'll call it the capacitance, to change what frequencies are passing, or both?
Just the tone. The mic gain is inside the radio up 3/4. Now this is the unamplified D104. If I had an amplified D104, easily adjustable. But remember, with the tram, they had actual technicians design that function. I'm just trying to simulate what they did. Now, what I'll probably end up doing, excuse me, once I figure out the audio problem, fix the tube thing, the output, because my transmit wattage went way down. I actually had to retune the radio. So I think the driver and the final flattened out. So what I'll have to do is check those tubes, get the tubes operating properly, and then after getting about a 10 meg or so high, so the gain, or so the tone is adjusted a little bit more gradually. Then I'll see if I want to keep it in the radio. If I don't, what I will do is take the original capacitor, which is, by the way, a 68 picofarad cap, and I've replaced it with a .005, well actually .0047 cap. So I think replacing it with something in between will probably give me an acceptable tone similar to the other Browns.
All right. Well, typically you only have to replace one or two, one that's rolling off the highs or rolling off the lows. Since we're archiving this, do you want to do, I don't know how, if you need both hands or to keep things out of the way so you don't touch something that you shouldn't touch. If you want to do it live, and again, it's being archived, so if you want to go in something where you're turning it and you count and know that, 0 is here and 10 is there, so you can hear the gradual progression. I'm still not hearing a lot of difference in the tone, and I think you said that's because of the you didn't have the 10 meg ohm that you needed. But if you want to do that once again and rotate it or do your orange furniture sizzling sausage, however you want to do it, as you're moving the control so you have it on one key down. So if you listen to it, you'll hear the difference all in the same transmission.
37.
Okay, by the ping, I can tell that it's not low enough. Okay. Let's see. It's going up. Okay, let me unseat. Yep. Oh, yeah. Now, that may be a little bit too low in tone. What do you think?
No, it sounds good. It's just it's low in volume. It's low in modulation percentage, but the tone is good.
Okay. Well, what I might have to do is try the other cap. I thought that one didn't work as well, but what I noticed in the tram is they have two caps. Let's say one here, one there, and they put the control with the 005 in between them. Well, they also have a resistor between. Now, I've got the resistor between this circuit, which is normally there, and the choke, which is in parallel with that resistor. I may have to change the resistor possibly, or go on the other side, the other cap, and see what happens. But since I can't go parallel and get it to drop, you have to take the cap out. So, as you know, the cap is parallel, the value goes up. I actually want to take it down. So, if I put these in parallel, it won't work. Anyway, that's where we're at right now.
All right, and Breaker Acknowledged will be right with you. And I think if you have time, we might be hearing the other R68, T68. So everyone will hear the difference, the full fidelity, sort of what we're trying to achieve, or what you're trying to achieve. Give it ping again. Your ping actually sounds good. It's not real screechy. It had a nice kind of different tone to it. Do the ping again with that setting.
Yeah, that's similar to the short ping that Ken has with the R3 and that I think it was short mic.
Yeah, and the ping is loud. I think you're close to 100% modulation. It just seems like your audio's a bit, I'll call it thin. And of course, I don't have any way of looking at a scope to actually say, yeah, your modulation is X percentage. And I'm sure if you had a PEP watt meter, you could probably tell just from looking at it. It's like, well, I could get a little bit more here. And as you know, I think a typical Browning would be at 3.5 or 4 watts. If it's more than that, it's probably overdone. If it's less than that, then like you said, you may have some flat tubes. All right, just to let you know, you're Radio 11 with that one. I want to continue on to Chris, and then we'll come back and tie anything up that we need to get done before we get out of here. But it definitely sounds like you're making progress with the circuit. It's doing something, but I think if you get the component value that you're looking for, we might hear more difference. Back to you.
Okay, we're out.
All right, RV working on the Browning Golden Eagle R68, T68, the Mark None, or the original Golden Eagle, compared to his other Golden Eagle, which we might hear coming up before we go out. So I'm not sure if you had a radio, Chris, but we're going back to you. Hello, 37.
Yep, 37 here, Dennis. We're going to check in our G PowerMate, pretty blue in here, 23 channel, the Jim Marine products, and we're running here with the amplified D104 Lollipop.
So you don't have any like Harvey, any controls that you can go in and turn and tweak and peak for us? Everything is just ready to go.
Yeah, I don't need to do nothing this year. It's already set.
Sometimes that is a good thing when it comes to tube radios. You don't want to be taking the top off too much. The Gem Marine Products G-Power Mate, if you're watching the video, that's a shot of the radio on which Chris is talking. I think that's the very radio. The blue, looks like it has a blue case, and it's even on Channel 11.
Yes, it is. On Channel 11. That's what it says right there. And the red light is lit up, says TX. So it's working, and when I let go, it's RX. Green.
So that you can hear Net Control say, "You are Radio 12, and thanks for bringing it by the Old Tube Radio Network."
You betcha. And it was nice to see Ray when he called me up, came by. So I had you guys going there for a minute, huh?
Yeah, I know. I think I forgot, but last week he said something about a surprise or something going on, and I didn't quite put two and two together. But I'm glad it was a good surprise.
Yeah, it was a surprise to me too. I did not know until he called me.
Sure, like a lost puppy, huh? That's showing up on the doorstep.
Well, that's a good lost puppy. He can come by anytime he wants. I already told him that a long time ago.
All right, well, like I said, we're glad that he was in town. Good to hear his voice. And we will look for it beaconing in from the... It'll probably be cold up there when we finally hear him this winter. All right, doing some counting and amounting here of the Old Tube Radio Network. Getting ready to close this one down for a 22nd of September, but there's still room on the radio list if you want to get sneak in, OTR listening.
Let's do some spelling.
OTR. 27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio. Old Tube Radio.
Last call for radio check-ins on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Yeehaw! It's working.
Yeah, the big heavy radio. All right, where are they? I'm waiting for the orchestra to get in position here, so that we can let everybody go home. Here we go.
This is the Old Tube Radio Network. Ladies and gentlemen, stand by. It's time now for the current OTR totals.
This would be the current. Thank you. This would be the current and final totals here at 10:38 Pacific Daylight Time for check-ins on SWLs, 11 on page 1, 16 on page 2, 12 on page 3, and 12 on page 4 for a total of 51 if I added correctly. We are in week 6 of the 8-week roster. So a couple more weeks to go on that. And we garnered a total of 12 radio stations. I'm really glad to be here. I really thought this morning, I didn't know if I was going to make it back in time from Santa Rosa or not. The traffic was... The nice thing, it was a weekend. So 101, the 580, 880, wherever it wasn't too bad. All the little mishaps were minor. And ate in fine time. And you know what? I didn't even have to break the law. I didn't even have to break the law to get here. A nice, pleasant drive. I don't like those white-knuckle drives where you have to get in the line of cars that's going 75 or 80 miles an hour. That's for somebody else. Where are we doing? The most heard radio manufacturer tonight. See, I forgot to do that. It appears that it's going to be a tie between the General Radio Telephones and the Brownings. Let's see if I did that correctly as we go down. First radio tonight, it was the Tram TR27E from Ed. Radio 2 was the General Radio Telephone SB72 from Paul. Jerry was on the Sonar Model G. That was Radio 3. Radio 4 was Chris on the Chris 23 Plus. And again, the archives will be up. The video's up if you want to watch that. But if you want to go to the audio archives, you go to oldtuberadio.net and go to the archive and look for the date and whether it's an SWL or a tube radio check. And if you'd like to give yourself your own radio check, radio number 5 tonight was the voice of Mr. 360 on the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A, courtesy of SWL 37. The Johnson EF Messenger 223 from Mr. Red for Radio 6. Radio 7, the Lafayette Comstat 2035B. Sans the Red Proboscis on the channel selector. Radio 8, Chris on the Helicopters CB3A. That was followed by the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB from Mr. Ed for Radio 9. Radio 10, the Robin T123, our one and only radio with the magic eye tonight. Thanks, Mike, for that. Harvey on the west side, the Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68 Project Radio. He's got a few more tweaks and peaks with some tube replacements and maybe a component part or two to see if he can't do what the Tram DO201s do with that tone control on the Browning. That'll be interesting. I've always wondered how to, I guess, direct inject feed Browning so you can bypass what they really want to be done, and that's have a sound and run the audio board, get some full fidelity. But maybe that's not, if it doesn't sound like a Browning, maybe that's not a bad thing. Anyway, we'll see how Harvey works on that. Stay tuned. Stay tuned to this station. And then Chris on the Gem Marine Products G Power Mate. And that is our 12 radios of the evening. Thanks, everybody. Also, search Lawrence.com to keep the next tube running and all that space on the server that we need to do what we need to do. And as I was mentioning earlier, thanks to all of you, this is sort of a community radio, right? As if it wasn't for our listeners and our tube radio operators, we would not be here for 33 years, going on 34 years on Saturday evenings, having a great time and kind of reliving the days of tube radios and people being safe and sane and keying up, but not keying up on each other, having a good time. I hope you get to do something similar, and I know you do, a lot of you do, in your area. Pick a radio night to get on the air and encourage people to do the same. Get the bands moving. If we can't get the skip to happen, at least we can make it to happen locally. 73, everybody. We will catch you next time. The archives will be up soon. And 27085, the Old Tube Radio Network, will be back in 7 days. Oh, let me see if there's any quickie comments that I need. Thank you, SWL21. Over on the video side, we had a good turnout on the video crew tonight. East Coast, very well represented. Maybe I'll when I jump off of here, I'll jump over to 75 meters. I don't have a good antenna. I don't have a good antenna to hear all the guys out there on the East Coast. Maybe I'll hear some West Coast AM as well. What's the new frequency? 3870, 3885, 3880 on 40 meters. Check 7290. On 20 meters now, they're talking about 14285 or 286 was sort of the place to go, but now I hear it's 14330. So give a listen to 14330. And I think it was 21430 on 15 meters, which is not open, and 10 a.m. is not open at all, but 29 megahertz. In fact, when things get booming, maybe we should go up to 29085 and cause some problems. That'll be fun. Good night, everybody. We will catch you next time on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Great night. Good night, Dennis.
Good night, Dennis. There was someone asking on the Corey, what type of antenna are you using for 11 meters?
I am using a knockoff Starduster, which I think original was called an M400. It's not the original M400, which I used to have a long time ago. And I don't know how I got this. Oh, I think, how long? 10 years ago, Jim and Kevin or somebody online found this, like, they're making the M400 again. So we ordered one, or I ordered one, somebody ordered one. A lot of people did. And when we took it out and built it, it's like, because Jim had the original one, and the slant. That's not the word I'm looking for, but on the drooping radials. Actually, they're not even radials. I think it's the bottom feed on the Starduster was not the same angle as the original M400. I can't remember if it was less or more. So, what is it? Sort of a dipole. It feeds through the center. So you've got your center radiator, and then your bottom radials. So it's an old Starduster. Before that, I had an IMAX 2000, which was actually a little better, only because I had it up higher. It works great for 10 and 12 and 17 meters. It's pretty bad for everything else below frequencies below that, where the Starduster is. You're not doing any loading coils. If you want to transmit, I suppose you could put it through the tuner, but it's not bad. But the IMAX was mounted incorrectly. I'll admit that. And then it had a problem where the fiberglass cracked. But those things are like a wet noodle up in the air. So I think I'm maybe eyeballing an SPT 500 or something, a nice aluminum, something with a ground plane for the next configuration on the receive here, which would hopefully be a little bit higher in the air, and our SWLs and radio operators will come in better on my radio, meaning you will hear them better. So there you go. It's a rehashed M400 Starduster that came out about 10 years ago. Not the original ones that came out 30 years ago, which I actually had one until until it met a very untimely death, as it was crumpled up by somebody thinking that they were going to put it in their shopping cart and make some money out of it. This story I don't want to go into. But they are still around. So there you go. Thanks. That's a long answer to a short question. Thanks, Corey. Thanks for the relay. 73, everybody.
I've got a Mako V5000.
That's a good one. That's the one that I probably should have gotten instead of the IMAX, and picked one up from Red Monkey. Actually, no, that's where I got my IMAX. I got that from Red Monkey, but I probably should have got the Mako 5000.
It's fairly new. It's still in my rafters out here.
Yeah, that was going to be my second choice, because that has the loop, or the loading loop on it or something, Ryan?
Yes, it does. And it's all aluminum. It's got the 18-foot still going up to the center, and the radios come out all four on each side. And that's what I'm talking on.
It does a good job. You always putting a good signal here. Again, it's altitude as well. And I noticed when I had the roof redone here with that Aztec coating, that it really, and I'm trying to convince myself that I'm not imagining this, that it really did help my receive with maybe making a more reflective ground plane, because the Starduster is very low, and maybe even on the transmit as well. But that just, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I'm noticing that. So we will see. I've got so many projects going on that just the antenna stuff just keeps getting pushed back, since everything is actually working. and I have a lot of projects that I have to fix stuff that isn't working. So there you go. All right, I'll keep that in mind. Anything else before I flip the big switch?
Yes, and you still need to come by.
I do. I still need to come by, and again, like I said, we're going to do I think it's take 4 on the Dennis makes the proper turns, and then the automobile shows up in the proper spot, or the bicycle, or whatever it is I'm running. All right, good night, everybody. Gosh, the streams are still up. Thanks, everybody, for staying late. And 3840. Corey, 3840. I probably have some tapes of 3840 back when it was, I don't know how long you've been out there. It was Ben and Art, and it was actually a pretty fun group. The original 3840. KI6GU. Moody, thank you. Moody was in there before, was it Wacky Tim and TXH and Wingnut and all those people were up there. But I digress. Let's not talk about goofy stuff. Or maybe 7258, 7255. I'm back on the MFJ and FCW days. Good night, everybody. The old Tube Radio Network.
You want to hear about the Arbuckles?
Oh, yeah, the Arbuckles. All right, thank you. All right, the stream's going to stay up a little bit. For those of you who are thinking, what about Arbuckles? Thank you, Larry. Jace, for those who don't know or not in the air, JC Arbuckles is an electronics parts supplier company. We lost Radio Shack, of course, everybody did. We had Whitcomb Electronics that was here for 30 years, and Tom retired, and so it closed this year. And then JC Arbuckle that had a office or a store in Bakersfield and one here in Fresno, and I don't know how long they've been in business supplying stuff for broadcast radio TV stations. They just closed. And so after they had their 50% off sale, which was a month ago in July, they came back and said, and I'll let you take it, Larry, so you can correct me here, that whatever we have left is going to go up for auction. So I don't know if they auctioned off shelves and everything was in the store just to get rid of it, or what they did. So we're going to head over to Larry. He's going to tell us what happened this morning at the JC Arbuckle Electronics closing down. So that really leaves nothing. That leaves nothing here in Fresno anymore. So tell us about the Arbuckle auction this morning. Over.
Okay. Let me take a big breath. No. I from what I understand, the sales ended up being about $6,000. I believe just over $6,000 of sales today. That's all the auctions totaled up. I spent about $250. There were a couple other guys there, and they spent some money. And I didn't stick around to the end. I asked about the push-up poles, and they sold it. They sold each section of push-up poles. The 40-footers, the 30-footers, and the 20-footers. And I think it went 40. One pile went for $30, another pile went for $40, and then another pile went for $70, which I assume was probably the 40-footers. And they had at least 20 push-up poles in each section.
Oh, you're kidding.
So, do the math. If you,
oh man,
it runs around $3 per push-up pole. It's on the $40 or 40-footers, the $70. That was a good deal. Somebody got.
And you had to take them home.
I don't know who won, but I will find out, and deals will be made concerning the push-up poles. I got the whole section of soldering tips and several soldering irons.
Wow.
Probably about 1,000 soldering tips. I got their audio amplifier ICs section, the STK type audio amplifiers, ICs. I got a bunch of those. BNCs. I have probably about a couple, probably about 1,000 or several hundred BNCs, all Amphenol BNCs, brand new in the package, sealed. So that was a win thing for me. And I got a couple of big batteries, 9 amp or 36 amp hour, not 6-volt batteries, a couple of those. And what else? Got a bunch of relays, old style plug-in time delay relays, and even I got this. I can't see it now, but I got a Powder and Brumfield relay demo kit, demonstration kit, the box, and where you can hit the button and, key, turn on the relay and turn off the relay. And I have their 2015 line card catalog here, and it says all the brands and stuff, and it says $90 million in inventory and access to over 1,000 product lines. Jack C. Arbuckle Company. The website is jcaelectronics.com.
Wow, okay. I didn't realize they still had some. There's the, if you're at oldtuberadio.net, that's still listening, that's their logo. That looked like something that was made up in 1949 with the lightning bolts. Jack C. Arbuckle. I can't, somebody had to figure out how to haul all those masts home, but I guess if you get a good deal on it, you don't mind. All right, well, that's good. That sounds like that'll help out your projects and other things of that nature. I wondered if they still had any AM TV antennas. AM TV. I mean, just regular VHF, UHF TV antennas and stuff. That's where I originally got mine. So, all right, sounds like it would have been fun to just go there and see what was going on. But it's also, like you said, it sounds like it's nerve-wracking, too, when you think, I could use that. I want that. And realizing, well, there is a budget going on here. We'll see. Hopefully, the stuff is going to stay local. Sometimes a lot of people just want to flip stuff on eBay. It'd be nice if it got distributed locally, and it was a win-win situation. Somebody makes a little bit of money, and then you don't get scalped. That's all I have to say. But thanks for the report.
Yes, and in the back of the place, they had lots and lots of wire, spools and spools of wire, pallet loads of spools of wires. There's a pallet load of cameras, security cameras, pallet loads of security camera wire, some tubes. I heard somebody that they had tubes, lots of antennas, a few speakers, wall mount or wall in-wall ceiling mount speakers. What else? Let's see. Oh, tools, wire stripping tools, and just all kinds of stuff. Too much stuff. And if you need any soldering tips for your Weller soldering iron or replacement parts, I'm the man.
All right, I think I got one of those cheap Hakko irons. There's I'll put if anybody's still watching the video, that's the storefront. So you can tell it's one of those, not a fancy place. It's locally owned, way downtown, back in the middle of nowhere, but close to a lot of the radio TV stations and I think the city. I think you said the city of Fresno used to go in there a lot. The school system, because they're right down the street from the city yard. So it was a popular place. Larry, before I go, and good night to those who have to jump out of here. Do you know what happened? And I think it was last year. That probably hastened their adieu from staying in business or keeping in business. You know what actually happened over there?
Well, basically, eBay and the internet wiped them out. They couldn't keep up with the prices going down and down and down. So that's the reason.
Well, that's one of the reasons. And so I think they closed, even though it shows up on their website. I think they actually closed Bakersfield, but they were still serving the radio TV people. They were still serving some of the local, like Fresno City, although I think what happened is Fresno City got a vendor, but, it was one of those things that's like, they're kind of limping along. At some point within the last year or so, they were involved in a lawsuit for ACA accessibility. You know what that's for having your business. And this is not a comment on whether you should have wheelchair accessibility. Obviously, that your business should be open to everybody. But yeah, AD. Okay, I'm AC. I'm thinking something different. But the ADA, and I guess someone came in and noticed that. And anybody who'd been in there before, they had the narrow aisles that are hard to get through anyway. And the parking lot was bumpy and lumpy, and there probably wasn't a ramp to get in the door. So somebody came in and actually sued them for their, Disability Act accessibility. And so they spent, from what I understand, from the sources I have, close to, and I never went in, because I was gone from Channel 30 by then, so I never went back in the store to see what they had done. But they had to reconfigure all the shelves, they had to change the parking lot, they had to fix the entryways, and to the tune of, somebody told me $80,000 to $100,000. And I think that was probably the straw, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yes. Yep. Yeah, that probably was the straw that broke the camel's back. Yeah. Oh, boy. Well. Yeah. Right. Well. And but they were the last store to close. So that's gotta be something there, The very last store.
It's definitely a tradition, and I've been seeing the Jack C. Arbuckle calendars for years they used to give out, and then they would have their hot dog, Weenie Wednesday, I think they used to call it, or something like that, Wiener Wednesday, occasionally. All right, I'm going to shut things down and get out of here. It's 11 o'clock, which is, the way we used to in the old days. Who's out there? Just a reminder here, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the video stream and the audio stream, so I don't want to break up any conversations that are going on here, but just a reminder, if you've got a conversation going, I'm going to go ahead and stop the stream so it can continue elsewhere. Maybe on 3840, who knows. Thanks for the update, Larry, and good night, everybody, on the Old Tube Radio Network after hours.
Good night.
All right, Dennis. See you Saturday. We'll be listening to you.
Go.
And the only reason there was a tie was because I couldn't get to this microphone quick enough.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
Can you take it up to 38?
Yeah.
All right. See you there.
All right, good night, everybody.
Good night, Dennis.
Good night out there, hitting the big button. 73 from the Old Tube Radio Network. And maybe we'll go check out 3840. Good night.